Hello and welcome to the Diva Talks Live Show. I am your host, the Diva, and tonight in studio, my special guest is none other than a powerful, motivational speaker, author, awesome woman. I'm just happy to call her friend, Mrs. Tamara Walton. How you doing, sis?
Hi. Well, I haven't been Walton for quite some time, but
Oh my God, did I say that? McMillan.
yeah, there you go.
We need a do-over.
No, we'll keep it going. We can represent Jonte on that one. How about that?
Tamara, how are you, sis?
I'm amazing, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here, to be in your presence. You look absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you. So do you. I'm just, I said the Diva show, you have to show up and you need to make sure that you're doing it and doing it with style and grace. So I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, you nailed it. You have a stylist. What's your stylist name? You do have a stylist.
My stylist, Jennifer Laurel Harris of Own the Room. I do have a stylist no matter when I show up, no matter where I am flying all around the world. If I am, at home speaking, Jennifer makes sure I am always on point. So shout out to Jennifer Laurel. And if anybody needs a stylist, she's the truth. She's the baddest and I love her.
Awesome. Listen, I see your shirt. What does your shirt mean? What does your shirt say?
So Pro Me. So I have a t-shirt line that's connected to the Liberation line. And Pro Me basically means it's about being the protagonist in your life. All too often, there's so much negativity around us. We know 2020 was more than a notion. And I want to be reminded that I'm the protagonist in my life, meaning I get to narrate my story and I get to dictate the ending. So everybody need to cop Pro Me. It's available on the website, but it's just a reminder that we all are we all are responsible and we all can paddle our own canoe and you're responsible for your destiny.
And this is exactly why you wrote a book. And you need to talk about this book. We're just going to go right into it. I'm telling you, you are such a powerful woman. And I just need everybody to know, if they don't know who you are. Tell us about this book that you wrote. 5 steps. It's liberation.
Yes. So I think, Latonya, like a lot of things in my life, it's come out of trauma and pain and wanting to use that information to not only better myself, but use it as a path for other women who are going through or gone through some of the same things. So Liberation Now was really my coming out of saying, hey, I've made a whole bunch of mistakes. I've gotten a lot of things wrong. However, I've leveraged those things. So there's 5 steps because I believe that it's important for us to narrate our story as it's tethered to our success in life. But you can only do that by, again, moving through 5 steps of liberation. And the first step is temet no sais, translated thyself, thou must know, which is Socrates. And I believe that if we cannot master ourselves, Latonya, we cannot master anything else in life.
See what I'm saying? I don't even need to say anything. Powerful. We had some offline conversation just before we came on. And I said, no. I don't even want to talk to you because I want the world to see and hear exactly just how powerful you are. You do motivational speaking. Sure. So I want to tell a little story right quick before we get into you speaking about the motivational speaker. Most of you may or may not know that Tamara and I, we go way back. We worked at a computer software company back in the 90s. And we actually started Divas Consulting together. Her, myself, Aaron Martin, who now lives in Florida. And, we all had different paths, different directions. And one of the directions that Tamara wanted to go in was the motivational speaking. And she was contracted to do something at a women's prison. And my husband was DJing, DJ Corey, also at the prison. And, you had to get a background check. You had to get all these things done. And one of the things my husband said is make sure you don't forget your ID. Well, I was so nervous, I forgot my ID. I had to drive 35, 40 minutes back home after coming into the prison, doors closed. But enough about me. Tamara gets in there. And when I say this powerful woman spoke life into these women inside of a prison, I was so amazed. I was sitting there scared to death because I'd never been in a prison, of course, but so amazed at how she didn't see women who were in prison. She just saw women. And I'm not sure if that was the first day that you decided that this is the time I'm going to continue on with this, but whatever the case may be, you continued on that path and you are killing it. Talk to us a little bit about your motivational speaking and why you started.
Wow. All right. So I do remember that day, and actually it was Constance Eve program, and it was her holiday program. And when we were talking backstage, Kareem Amin was there as well. Why? I think simplistically, I was cognizant that women, and women of color in particular, we suffer in silence, Latonya. We suffer by ourselves. We move through these places and spaces where we feel like we have to carry the bag by ourselves because we're studied trying to assimilate into what society says that we have to be. We can't ask for help because then we're weak. We can't say that I need counseling because then that means I'm crazy. You know, we can't say that these things are too much, or we can't go to our girlfriends and say, hey, girl, hey, I need your help because I'm underwater, because we're fearful that somebody's going to run back and be like, you know, Tamara just called me, girl. She needs Pampers for John Tay. And then and speaking of that, I'm going to pivot a little bit, but on purpose, if you would. I remember having to come to you, and it was right when I was getting ready to go through divorce, and I had to borrow money from you more than a few times, and you were there for me. And I want to publicly say again, thank you. I won't forget that. I have not forgotten that.
Don't do that.
But, and then again, that was just the universe. And I wasn't even thinking about that. But really, just thank you for standing in a gap for me. I didn't understand the importance of having a savings plan because I was married, and you know, all that I had was connected to my ex-husband. I didn't have for Tamara. And then I had this beautiful brown little girl looking up to me, trying to figure out, well, where are we going? And if nothing else, I had to play this hand, Latonya. And, my mother and my sisters were there, of course, but then I was tired of leaning on them. So like you said, when you're talking about picking up the phone, I knew that I could count on you, and thank you for that. So I started the speaking because I didn't want us to have to suffer in silence anymore. I wanted to be able to create not only a safe space, but a brave space for women to come and lay their burdens down and narrate their story without feeling like they needed to do what? Censor their material.
Wow. Tamara, you are, yeah. Whoa, I didn't expect that. And that's why I appreciate you, because you're real. You are raw. You stand in the back, but you're so powerful that your light shines. And I don't want to get off the subject of your book.
Sure.
You need to tell us about where we can get this book from, because just this 30 minutes is not going to even touch the surface of how powerful you are. And I want everybody to know about your book and where they can get it from before we move any further.
All right. So my book is available on Amazon.com. So you can go directly to Amazon.com. Now, I know everybody got Amazon Prime because that's the only way we've been able to shop in 2020. And then also it is on my website, empowerme.com, empowerme, EMPOWERME.com. And you can get it there as well. It is also available in the electronic version as well, which can also be purchased on my website, empowerme.com.
You know, I appreciate you, and you're welcome. And I thank you. I thank you because I watch you. I watched you when we were together, when we worked together. I watched how you grow. I watched how you just took steps and you did what you wanted to do. You were making a lot of money at the job that we were working at, but yes. Your happiness, a lot of money. Yes. And I know this because we were working together and we were tight. But you weren't happy there. And you said, this is not what I want to do. And I'm looking at you sideways like, girl, do you see those paychecks? What you talking about? You showed me how to step out on faith and to do what it is that you want to do. And when I tell you, you hit the ground running, you haven't stopped yet. and you empower me. And so with that, you said something about me, MEE. What does that stand for?
So MEE is what I passionately, is passionately McMillan Empowerment Enterprise. So my last name is McMillan. Empowerment. So I spoke about that, wanting to empower women, because I believe that all too often people get power and empowerment confused, and I didn't want that to happen. And then enterprise. So it has been so catchy and it stayed. So I'm like, okay, me. So that's the name of my company, McMillan Empowerment Enterprise.
And you have something else, NYS. That doesn't stand for New York State.
Well, you know what? I'm all about acronyms. And ironically, since we live in the state of New York, and that's where I'm from, no, it doesn't stand for New York State, but it stands for Narrate Your Story. So that's an online e-course that I've created for women who want to embrace the beauty of their dreams, like you're talking about right now, creating the Diva Talks Show, and understand that they have a story to narrate and want to share it with other women. And I want to create this outline for them to do so. And the online platform says it doesn't matter how you want to share your story. You don't have to be on a stage like Oprah. You don't have to have a talk show host like the Diva. You don't have to be on a big stage like a Tamara or in a classroom. But what's most important is that you narrate your story, because it's for the benefit of other people. So I talked about, creating an online course, doing it in small groups, doing it online, doing it one-on-one. The thing that I want to impress upon women is that you're important, therefore your story is important. So we want you to be liberated enough to narrate it.
That is powerful, powerful, powerful. You spoke of your beautiful daughter. How is she? She, another one, college basketball. Yes. Talk a little bit about how beautiful she is and how she's doing.
Wow. So, yes, I will say to anyone, as I've always said, that Jonte is the best thing that I've ever done. Hands down. When I see Jonte, and just the way that you talk about Diamond as well, because we both have one child, I'm like, listen, parenting and motherhood is a trip everyone should take once, and I've done my tour duty. I'm done. So, girl, you know how I was like, remember my shower? And I was looking at my pictures of my shower at my mom's house, and you were there, Aaron were there, the whole Ingrid crew, and things like that. But to answer your question, Jonte is well, thank you. Jonte, she followed her dream to play Division I basketball, which she did. She broke plenty of basketball records in her high school, won a championship with, her colleagues at Cardinal O'Hara, and then went on to win a championship at the collegiate level. She has her master's degree, all paid for by her scholarship, because she understood the importance of leveraging not only her athletic ability, but her intellect. So she, matter of fact, graduated from her undergrad in 3.5 years, and that's why she was able to get her master's paid for in college. Great credit and stuff. And so funny, now we're talking about changing the tide. My child is getting ready to have a baby. So that is Yes, my baby is having a baby. Thank you. And it's so funny. I've told very few people, and not because I didn't want to, but talking about NYS, Narrate Your Story. It's not my story. Jonte is, a solid young woman. She's 24 years old. Her and her partner are just wonderfully excited. So they're having a little girl. Cairo Rain will be here in April, and we're all aglow. And my daughter, and so you're talking about me being raw and authentic, and I'll share this. It took me a minute, because that's not the path I saw, because I created her. And I'm like, no, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and it's going to happen like this. But Latonya, after talking to my spiritual coach and my sisters and my mother and Jonte's godmother, I realized I would be a hypocrite, because I'm telling my students, I'm telling the women that come to my program, I'm telling myself to narrate your story. And here I was trying, girl, to narrate Jonte's story. I'm trying to take the pen out of her hand.
Wow. You know what? That's a word right there. Because that is a word.
It is. It is. And then I realized
I've watched Jonte, and I'm not on social media with her. So I did not know that she was with child, but I do know that she has done a lot, and she's grown.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
a grown woman.
Oh, she grown for sure.
She's grown. But congratulations. But I get that, and I sometimes I have to back off as well because, I'm not writing Diamond's story. Mm-hmm. I just have a story in my head of how I hope it goes.
Yes.
But you hit the nail right on it. They have to narrate their story. They didn't tell us about our story and how we should walk and go. So that is good. And that's very big of you to be able to say that. But, it's congratulations. I know that when you said you spoke with your mom and your sisters and Jonte's godmother, you're very close with your sisters and your mom. Yes. Always have been. Talk a little bit about your family.
Wow. So, as you know, and a lot of people don't, I'm private, and it's so funny. So that's why, again, a lot of people still don't know, because I'm private, because I understand the importance of, protecting those things that are important to you. And Tamara, am an open book now that I've made peace with my demons, and I've really come full circle with that. But when it comes to my daughter, like you are with Diamond, I'm petty when it comes to Jonte, and it still takes me a moment to be objective about it, because that's my girl. I'm like, what? I'm ready to, put some Vaseline and sneakers on. But, but my family as well. I was on the phone with my mother today, and my mother was at the helm, Latonya, when it came to raising 3 brown girls in the projects, the Kenfield Langfield projects, by herself, and ensured that we knew that our purpose was bigger than our zip code. She wanted to make sure that we knew that we were more than just laying on our backs, and we were just more than being on social services, because my mother was on social services after her and our father got divorced. She understood that education could be, if we wanted it to be, the leveling playing field in our lives. And all of my sisters and I, we have degrees past our masters. Like I am the mediocre one in the group. Tashelle has her administrative degree. Tanya's a diagnostician, and she has some other kind of degree. But we held on to her words, and we believed her. Simple. We believed her. And to the point of relationships with women, my mother impressed upon us how important it was for us to love one another. You stand for your sister. You don't fight your sister. So it's really hard when I hear women, Latonya, say, oh my God, I don't like women. I can't stand women. I have beautiful relationships with women because that's all I know. And it started with my mother. My mother was my first example of a Black feminist. My mother was the first example of a sports fanatic. So you're talking about the Bills game. I grew up with my mother cussing at the TV, telling somebody to catch the ball. So how could I not be a feminist? How could I not be about women and supporting them? And how could I not be a sports fanatic? So I pay homage to my mother. Everything that I am and I want to be and I try to be is because of my mother.
And she's a fantastic, phenomenal woman. She not only raised the 3 beautiful ladies that she has, she took on your friends. I know that I would come over and eat, and other friends. It's just like, and she would open up her doors. And if you did something wrong, or if something wasn't right, she didn't have a problem letting you know and sitting you down and having conversations. We've had plenty of conversations without you even being present about me.
Listen, you better talk that talk, because Linda, she don't play no game. She will set you up for sure. You ain't never lied about that, because people are like, your mother's mean. And we used to say she was mean too, but we understood that she had to raise us a certain way, because she knew that when we went out there in those streets, that the world didn't give a care about us being Black and brown, especially growing up in poverty. Are you kidding me?
Right. Speaking of Black and brown, now you are AKA.
Hey, girl,
AKAs. Our vice president is an AKA.
She is.
What was your first initial feeling, thought when this all took place with her being an AKA?
Wow. You know what? Kind of going back to the whole idea, notion of sisterhood, there are a couple things that came to mind. But the first thing was, again, standing on the backs and the shoulders of strong Black women that came before her. Because remember how sororities, the Divine Nine came about was because we could not participate in other fraternities and sororities for individuals that didn't look like us. So, we're going to create our own. So that's what that reminded me of. And I love that. And not only am I an AKA, Tanya's an AKA, Jonte's an AKA. So it is really a serious matter in our house. But the other thing about that is it is about philanthropy, sisterhood, and service. How are you serving with your talent? So you talked about, when I made the decision to quit Ingram. And by the way, I'm known as or dubbed the serial quitter because I will leave a gig if it ain't for me. If it's not in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing, why am I wasting my time? So
Tamara, that we have to pause right there. We have to pause right there because that is so true. And I say that I couldn't believe it. You said you were going to do it, and you did it, and you never looked back. And so where does that come from, though?
Doing the work, Latonya. Doing the work. When I talk about Temet no says, thyself thou must know, I promise you, there were many sleepless nights. There was many times when I just didn't feel like me. There were many times when I felt like I was betraying me. So I say this in the book, and I say this in many times when I'm speaking because it's just so profound. There will be many a people that will betray you, but self-betrayal is the number one form of betrayal. And I felt like I was betraying myself. And I felt like I could not look my daughter in the face and tell her, go out and be your very best if I knew that I was not being my very best. We all have something specific that we must do in this world, and it cannot be done by somebody else. So Diamond has her thing. Latonya has her thing. Tashelle has her thing. Jonte has her thing. Kennedy has her thing. Erin has her thing. Jennifer, et cetera, right? Sabrina. And if we don't fulfill those individual missions, they go undone. They can't be delegated to anybody else. So I did the work, and the more I read, the more I was able. Hey, Sonia, the more I was able to step into the understanding of myself. It became clearer and clearer. So you know how we say we get confirmation? Girl, it was affirmation after that. Affirmation.
Wow. Whew. You draw people in, and I'm one of the people that you draw in. Even when you do your snippets on Facebook,
yes.
I just sit and I just watch, and I'm just like in awe, like, wow.
Thank you.
You have been blessed with the gift.
Thank you.
And you share it. And for that, I'm grateful. So now I know that you would do a lot of speaking engagements, not just here. You've traveled.
Yes.
And you've spoken to people way up at the top. Again, I said the people that were in prisons. COVID, I know, has definitely put a damper on a lot of things for a lot of people. How are you sharing your speaking? Because it can't go undone. How are you sharing that since COVID?
Right. Very good question. I love that. And that's one of the things as a creative. So I'm a creative consultant. I'm a trained creative. And that's one of the, classes that I teach. We say, why waste a crisis? So we were in a crisis, and we still are, because now we have our wonderful new administration. Thank you, universe, for them, who have some not only insight, but intellect, and worried about more than just themselves from a narcissistic perspective. So things like this, being on shows like the Diva Talks, having my snippets, where I'm dropping them online, whether it be Facebook or IG, also the online course. So the online course, I actually did 2 cohorts already, because I wanted to see if someone was interested in what it is that I had to offer. So I've already did 2 cohorts. So I'm getting ready to drop a 3rd one. Now I'm writing my blog every Monday that comes out at 4 p.m. and just making myself available. Individuals, they call me and say, hey, I'd like for you, to, speak at our actual conference. So now a lot of conferences are virtual. I'm sharing my story. I'm still teaching virtually as well. So just trying to do as much as I can for as many as I can for as long as I can without compromising the integrity of what it is that I'm here to do.
Whew, I can just throw those away because I didn't need those at all.
I love the cards too.
Besides getting your last name wrong, this interview was just amazing. Like I knew that it would be.
Yes.
But before I let you go, you're doing a lot. And I know that I'm going to have you back on again.
Please
but when
do.
you come back on, I'm going to have to say Dr. McMillan.
Yes.
So you're in grad school.
I am.
Where do you find the time to do this, Tamara?
Listen, it's so funny. You sound like my mother. She says, you get 3 minutes and you go and fill that with something. You go off and present in the islands. Then you come back in a graduate program. Like, you know what? It's really, really about time management, right? I say this. Time is our most important way in which we can compliment someone because it's the one thing that we can't get back. And if it's not in alignment with, again, my calling, if it's not in alignment with what it is I'm supposed to be doing, I don't do it. So it is about that idea of being very, very cognizant of the time and then doing the things that help propel me forward. If it doesn't sparkle at me, if it doesn't offer anything that's progressive, then I know how to say no. And that's in the book too. No is a complete sentence. Everybody who's on, you don't have to say yes to everything, because if you say yes to everything, you're saying no to something that you should probably be doing for yourself.
Wow. We can't end on any other note than that. Tamara, thank you so much. I love you. I've always loved you. I admire you. I appreciate you. And just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Now is the time for everyone to see women like you who stand on your word, who's powerful, and who don't mind sharing and telling a story, because it hasn't always been easy.
It hasn't been easy, but that's the thing. If it's difficult, if it is arduous, it probably means it needs to be shared.
And you share it. And for that, I'm grateful. Thank you so much for taking time out your busy schedule and chatting with me tonight. It's been great. It's been awesome. Again, like I said, I'm going to have you on again.
Please do. I love this.
Definitely. I appreciate you so much. And to my studio audience, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule, whatever it is that you were doing. You didn't have to stop to watch, but you did. And we appreciate that, definitely. Before I go, we have to say go Bills. That's the mug. Go Bills, still Buffalo Bills. And also, I'm not sure if you saw on my Facebook page, we are doing a giveaway. We do know that we are in the middle of a pandemic, so therefore we want to make sure everything is safe. Make sure you go on my Facebook page. We're doing a Valentine's Day special. The DAT TV in conjunction with Diva Talks Live Show. All the details are on the page. Make sure you go. Make sure you write in. And make sure you set yourself up so that you can be a winner. We're going to have a great time. Once again, thank you so much, Tamara. God bless you. Thank you, audience. Have a great night. Stay safe. And remember, if you're not happy, you can't make anyone else happy. So find your happy space. See you next week.